Hello, my Juicy co-creators. Lilou here. I'm in Paris today on the Juicy Living Tour Europe, interviewing Pierre Jovanovic, the author, the journalist, the investigator. Hello.
Bonjour, Lilou.
Thank you for accepting to do this interview in English. I know this is not our first language, but this is information that you want to share. I must say that I feel that this video is an important one. It's not exactly the kind of video that I usually do, but I feel it's important to put the light on some things that are happening in this world. And thanks to the internet, we can share this information. Now you have a blog, you're author of 10 books, and you have started this blog in 2008. It's a financial blog, an international revue de presse, as we call it in France.
Review. It's a press review.
It's a press review, so you really look at all the details. And you decided to write this book about this woman that not many people know in the world or haven't heard about yet. And her name, and it's a British woman, is called Blythe Masters.
Exactly. Blythe Masters, an English banker from Cambridge, and it's almost 20 years that she's working at JP Morgan, and we can say that she's partly responsible for this huge mess we're seeing right now. And I just would like to say that we're speaking a couple of days after some neo-Nazi political party just came up in Greece. And this is the result of everything the bankers have done, mainly JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. So we're going to see more mini Hitlers, popping up everywhere in every country in Europe and maybe also in United States. Who knows? Because the situation right now is really frightening.
Yeah. Why did you decide to investigate so deeply? And I know thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people follow Pierre's blog all around the world, really now. A lot of French people, of course, because it's done in French. Yeah. So, I mean, and this book, by the way, we're going to speak about it, but it's only in French right now. And it's going to be in English. And this interview is in English. And we're going to speak why this woman that you really say in there, she's like it's like she has created this massive weapon of total destruction for you.
Yeah, it's it's Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett. Everybody knows him. He's a kind of hero because he has a lot of money. It's pathetic, but he knows exactly what he's talking about. And he said, I think it was in 2002, that credit default swaps, because we're going to talk about credit default swaps, are weapons of financial massive destructions. So, and the weapons have been fired all over the world, and we can say that Blythe Masters was the general pattern in terms of banking army. To understand what is a credit default swap, we have the term swapping. So I'm going to say something very French, but it's the English have a very bizarre word, which is it's called insurance. Okay, but swap is an insurance, except that you don't have the liquidity, you don't have the money put aside, to guarantee any kind of risk, and this is why. A huge company named AIG exploded because in 2008 because AIG was not able to pay just in the beginning $14 billion of insurance to pay. A credit default swap. Let's say that I'm I'm going to buy a house, okay, for $1 million at 5%. And you are my bank, and at the moment I sign this the papers, you're going to sell the risk of not being repaid by me to some hedge fund or pension fund in Germany or France or Italy or even in Texas, and for on this 5%, you're going to give 1% or 2% This is quite simple. But the day I'm not going to pay you back, you are going to ask this hedge fund to pay you. And this is like a chain of alpinists, a chain of people in mountains, There one guy is falling, and all the others are falling behind or below him. And Blythe Masters in 1907, when she started with Exxon, she sold to a European bank a swap, a default swap on $5 billion. Okay. In case if Exxon is going to be bankrupt, this European bank, the BRD, will pay JP Morgan back. Okay, but in the beginning, this was flawed because this bank belonged to the people. It was an European bank, and it belonged to the French people, it belonged to the English people, and the German people. This bank was created by the French president François Mitterrand. So let's say that Exxon went bankrupt. Who had the obligation to pay back the JP Morgan? It was this European bank, and this European bank will call the money on every government, mainly the French government, the German government, Italian government, etc. So from the beginning, this was a steal and directly from the people. So and it's absolutely amazing to how this product, which was reserved only for big companies like IBM, Colgate, etc., in the beginning, just went mainstream to the point that every single, even a student loan was swapped, chunked, tranched and everything. And today, now it's almost like 10 years that they're doing that. The whole world is like a dead cat bouncing. I mean, the whole financial system is a dead cat bouncing. I mean, actually, the cat is dead. We're just giving him, some oxygen, to make his heart beat a little more.
But how does this woman that was, from my understanding of what you say in the book, trading commodities, became this person within JP Morgan that made such a big strategic decision that is impacting, now you're saying, the world?
How did she make it? It's quite simple. I mean, what she sold, what JP Morgan, because she's not the only one, JP Morgan sold an insurance without the insurance. Everybody knows Uncle Scrooge. The first relationship you ever had with a banker. It was when you were a kid and when you read Mickey Mouse magazines. So that was your first relationship with a banker, mainly Uncle Scrooge, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and everybody remembers that Uncle Scrooge had a swimming pool filled up with gold and dollars and coins. And
flying everywhere. He loved it.
And he was swimming in his swimming pool. Okay, that's everybody understand that. Why that was the reserve of his bank, all this money in the swimming pool. With this product, they were able to open a new system without the swimming pool, or mainly just maybe with 1 inch of water or coins. And when the Wall Street exploded on 29th of September 2008, everybody just exploded in the same times. Could you understand that there's pension funds, policemen, firemen, electricians, like all the tiny pension funds all over the world, they put all their money in Wall Street, so they lost everything. So you won't have any pension, okay? And we're to the point that even our parents won't have any pension. Don't forget, for instance, here in France, Nicolas Sarkozy, he went on the parliament and said, okay, all the French people are going to work 2 years more just to be able to get their pension. And that's because all the pension funds are almost bankrupt. You need to understand that. And they're hiding it. This is terrible. There was an article in the, I think it was in the Telegraph of London or Time of London, I don't remember, but it was titled "Apocalypse," for pensions. Saying that mainly in 2027, nobody, or almost nobody, will be able to get any kind of pension. So how people will do that? How they're going to survive? And this because all these pensions, German, Italian, French, American, they all invested their money in products, called, everybody knows what a subprime, okay? The subprime is, because these banks needed paper, they needed loans, and they come to the point that they were giving loans to everybody, people who even didn't work. There's a piece in the New York Times. There's an old lady of 75 years. She got a loan of almost $500,000, for an apartment. How she's going to repay that one on 15 years? She's 70.
There must have been some fake signatures or something. Isn't there a process?
The fake signature was after that. That was when the bank were not repaid on their loans. They started to take over the houses back. They took the houses back, and this is how they started to make all these fake signatures from judges and everything. So we saw that like 2 years ago. It was all over in the press. And what is the most important is that. Blythe Masters was not the only one, but she was the main intelligence, because she's extremely brilliant. She's
Cambridge graduate, Oxford.
Yeah, but there's a lot of Cambridge graduates and a lot of Oxford graduates. She is above. Yeah. She's something else. She's really above. She has a distinctive mind, which helped her to popularize credit default swap all over the world. When I'm saying all over the world, is in all the banks in Singapore, in Switzerland, Geneva, Bâle, Lausanne, in Germany, London, of course, and all this. It was just crooks. I mean, this is a crooks, because you cannot open a bank, or you cannot open an insurance company if you don't have all the money put aside, to be able to pay, let's say like a normal insurance company. And this is what's happening today. All the European banks will explode today in France, and this started like three years ago. People were able to go to any branch and take out, like, let's say 4,000 euros. And it started to go down, from 4,000 it went to 2,000 and to 1,500. And today, there is branches of some banks, you are just allowed to take out 300. And this is a perfect reminder of what happened in Argentina. In 1 year before Argentina declared himself bankrupt, banks started to say, people, you cannot take your money out of the bank. Yeah, you see? So this is, this is a whole mess, and this is, in the book I'm describing how she did it, because she was not alone. She was extremely helped. She was helped by the Federal Reserve, and of course all the lawyers of J.P. Morgan. There's a lot of lawyers at J.P. Morgan. In the beginning, J.P. Morgan, they threatened me gently, saying, that they're going to read every line of the book and send me, all the lawyers after me. So
obviously, they disapproved this book at first.
They disapproved the book. I don't understand why, because I really wanted to have an interview with Blythe Masters, at least in the book, that she will be able to give her point of view. That was normal, but she declined, and the J.P. Morgan public relation declined. So they're playing the same game as Goldman Sachs.
And she's been very much protected then, because I really don't get it. And you're the financial person, you're the investigator. Tell us, of course she was protected, but what really, why was she so protected?
Blythe Masters is extremely protected because she's the one who sold the credit default swap to all the bankers in the world, and she was one of the because she had the expertise, and her team, they had the expertise to figure out, for instance, that all the subprimes or different, not subprimes, but financial product they sold were flawed. All this, everything was flawed, and they knew that the whole thing is going to explode. This is the first point. The second point is that Blythe Masters knew, along with Bill Winters and the other people at JP Morgan, that the other bank didn't respect the risk, the same risk scheme as they had. So they knew that the whole thing is going to explode. So they get rid of all this. JP Morgan Chase is one of the bank who lost they didn't lose too much money with the subprime stuff. They lose some, but that's because they were pushed to buy another bank which was bankrupt. So it was Washington Mutual, if I remember. So you need to understand that at that moment they knew that the whole thing is going to explode, and she started then a new career in the commodities, because they knew that even there is a huge economic crisis, people will always need to eat, and she started her buying spree, like you're doing your shopping on Avenue Montaigne, at Christian Dior and Dolce Gabbana and Yves Saint Laurent and all this, and except that Blythe Masters is not on Avenue Montaigne. She's buying all the cocoa in Africa. She's buying all the orange juice in California. When somebody do you want a coffee, she's buying like 200 tons of coffee and so on, and sugar. And you have seen price of all these commodities, agricultural commodities, rise. For instance, last year we saw rises in coffee of 30% almost, sugar, and this is almost every year. So and all the people all over the world are paying just for JP Morgan or just for Goldman Sachs. So even before a steak or a sugar or coffee is landing on your table here, Blythe Masters and JP Morgan, they already have taken their part on it. I mean, this is weird. There's something is wrong.
And you know that for sure. You found a document in your research?
Oh yes, we actually there is there is one in the book, but you will be able to to show them.
We'll see it on the video.
Yeah, but I just want to show it here to the camera. Let's go. Oops. So. This is, for instance, the different products she's buying: coffee, sugar, wheat. She's even buying bacon. This is not breakfast at Tiffany. It's breakfast at. Well, this is amazing. And orange juice, cocoa, soja, je sais pas comment on dit ça, soja oil, soy oil, etc., etc. And she's buying also electricity, natural gas, of course, oil, all the gold, the nickel, the silver, and of course all the agricultural products directly, from the farms. So this is absolutely amazing. Where in a pre-revolutionary state, it's like in France in 1788, when only aristocrats and some rich bourgeois were able to have, lands. That we say landlord. Always the lord was able to have the land.
But people must see in Wall Street what's going on, or this is hidden?
But mostly this is hidden. People in the supermarket, they don't have a clue that, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, they already have bought the products and sell them afterwards to the supermarkets, to the chain. This is something very new. And they are doing this because they took control of all the elements of the agricultural chain, of the alimentary chain. Yeah. It's quite amazing. Yeah.
And what's so funny is that she has quite a predestined name. Like it's becoming the masters of this world.
Yes, she's.
From what I'm understanding here in this conversation, it's quite huge. It's humongous.
This Tom Wolfe, and analysts, they wrote books about Wall Street. And it was very funny because American Psycho, for instance, it's a trader, it's a psycho killer, it's a serial killer, and his name is Batman, and we all say about these traders, about this dealer, that they're just vampires. So this writer was able to foresee, to almost 20 years ahead what's going to happen, that Wall Street is going to be the whole Wall Street, all these traders are going to be like serial killers of normal people. They kill people because they're buying all the agricultural production in all over the world, and people do not know that. This is important. It's extremely important. I mean, I don't know how she feels, because she's buying all the sugar and all the coffee and all the chocolate. Don't ever forget that all the revolution in Algeria, Tunisia, Egypt, not Algeria, Egypt, they started with strikes of housewives, let's say the desperate housewives, which may
Pans?
With pans, yes, and they were striking and asking the price of the coffee and wheat to go down. La farine, comment on dit la farine?
Wheat.
Wheat, voilà, of the wheat to go down, and sugar. All the revolution start with commodities prices asking to be lowered. Yeah. The French Revolution started not because of Blythe Masters, because she was not able to buy at the time. The French Revolution started because the meteorologic conditions were so bad for 2 years that the agriculture there was not enough for everybody, so we saw some bakers to be killed, by women because they were not able to buy some bread. This is how it started. And there is one guy who worked with her, and he said, listen to this is amazing. People will fight with each other in front of supermarkets to be able to buy something, some food. Because, today Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, they took control of almost all, food and agricultural production. And it's frightening. It's really frightening. And she's the head of commodities.
It sounds like a dictator.
Yes, I mean it's Henry Kissinger. He said in an interview in November 2011. So it's not very old actually. It's like 4 months old. For this English newspaper, he said control the petrol, the oil, and you control countries. Control the food production, and you control people. So we can say today that United States, through JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and some other banks, they're controlling people. They're controlling France, they're controlling England, they're controlling Germany, Portugal, Spain, and everything. Because this is those countries who are paying the most for agricultural commodities.
What is shocking for the public, for us to learn about this, is that it's been going on for a long time, and only in 2008 we saw the market collapse, but it's been a long time, since 2006, even probably earlier, that these people have known. And to betray us this way with our own money and our food is going to make a lot of people very angry.
I mean, this is this is an interesting point because Goldman Sachs, as you know, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, they were given billions of dollars to save their banks, and this was given to them by the American taxpayer. No, remember that was in 2008 after the collapse of Lehman Brothers. There is all kind of movies have been made on that, and. This is interesting, is that Goldman Sachs took the American taxpayer money, and JP Morgan also, and they used that money to buy all the agricultural products, to even made more money on the back of the people. This is where in the system, a financial system became totally crazy. And this is going to lead, the whole world in a huge universal bankruptcy. Period.
if she's watching, I'm sure she's gonna watch this. I have this. If she's watching this, what would you tell her? Like, what message do you have? Because you've studied her, you obviously for over a year. Is there more than that? Is there something that you would like to say?
I would like to ask her, how she feels, that when she's pushing all the prices up, just for the pleasure of some JP Morgan shareholders who are already filthy rich. Blythe Masters, don't forget, she is not the only one. Goldman Sachs have the same, department. They have a commodities. They're doing exactly the same thing. Actually, it's a French girl who is heading the Goldman Sachs commodities department. So this question is good also for her. How do you feel? You're pushing all the countries to the brink of revolution. We're going to start. We have seen in France. It was like 2 weeks ago, there was this politician, Mélenchon, in Marseille. He asked people to go for insurrection, which is a kind of revolution, because people are losing jobs all over the place. How many? And all the banks are laying off almost every day or every 2 days. HSBC has laid off 30,000 people. Credit Suisse, they're always going by 1,000. The only one bank who is not laying off is JP Morgan, but Goldman Sachs is going to, Goldman Sachs, the guy who was in charge of their public relation, it was von Prague. He was fired actually. Not long. And who take his place? It's a guy from the from the Tim Geithner team. So you can see that this is made by the American government. And everybody, nobody is saying anything. I didn't see too many paper, except in perhaps in Zero Hedge once, or eventually in the Wall Street Journal once, to say that this is going to lead the whole world in a revolution because of the rise of the weird rise of commodities, agricultural commodities prices. The revolution in Tunisia, in Egypt, they came up because the price of sugar, the price of coffee was too high. And this will happen also in France. It will happen in Greece. It will happen everywhere. And we're going to see, as we saw it in Greece last week, we were going to see, as I said previously, mini Hitler popping up in every country.
Well, I guess if people cannot take their money out of the banks, it's going to be a big problem.
It's a contrarian effect. You see, it's where all this is leading people, to a tremendous anger because they have their money in bank, but they're not allowed to take it out. You understand? And this is impossible. I'm receiving almost every day like 3 or 5 mails of readers telling me I was at the Banque Postale, I was at the Crédit Agricole, I was at Société Générale. I asked them to give me 1,000 euros. What's 1,000 euros? Nothing. Okay? And they say, no, you're not able to withdraw 1,000. We will give you only 300. And Banque Postale, which is going to basically to be bankrupt in one of those days, they're lowering everything. And now, every time you're using your credit card, you will pay, 6% on, or 65 cents if you're going. This is weird. In France, people are not used to that. This is going to be the end of all. This will be quite scary, actually.
Part of the title of this book is the banker of the JP Morgan that is at the origin of the global crisis. What has she done and what is she going to do? So what is she going to do?
But I wrote this book in basically 2010, and it came out in I think it was January the 10th of 2011. And in this book, I was showing that she is Blythe Masters from JP Morgan and her commodities team, they were buying all the agricultural products all over the world, and this is going to lead to rise into prices, and that we're going to see revolution all over, started all over in the Middle East. When the book came out, it started almost at that moment, like 1 week later. And it was quite weird for me to see that. I thought that it will happen like 1 year later. It started just 1 or 2 weeks after I published the book. So, and I was showing in the book that she's buying the whole thing. So the result of this book now that she went public and she did something absolutely amazing. JP Morgan said, okay, we're going to, and I'm going to Blythe Masters and Jamie Dimon. They took the decision to give $5 million to the University of Colorado in Denver to have a specific university courses on how to trade commodities. So JP Morgan is buying an university, literally. Think about that. They're buying, I give you $5 million and please, do that, do that for us. So they are exactly like the King Louis XIV, giving some money to, some writer or some school, I will give you $5 million, but please do a specific course, to say how smart we are at JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs. And they are going to have a new product, you will see like 100 people coming out of this university every year, and they will buy all the agricultural products, in the rest of the world.
Including seeds.
Including seeds. So I mean, this is not normal. This is not normal.
From my understanding too, they also have acquired media so that then they can influence the information also that is going to go out about all this, right? So not only universities, but money, of course, has power, and then you can buy a lot of people to make sure that you're controlling what's being said.
Yes, but this basically this is not very new. I mean, no. we have the case of the original banker, Monsieur Morgan. Monsieur John Pierre Paul Morgan, he went on a buying spree also. He bought like the 10 most influential newspaper in United States because he wanted to control everything which would be written about him and his bank. And to give you an example, JP Morgan owns 10% of the most important French television. It's amazing. The Banque Rothschild, everybody knows Banque Rothschild or the Rothschild family. The Rothschild family owns the main left-wing French newspaper, Libération. This is, could you imagine the Rothschild owning a left-wing newspaper? Hello? It's absolutely amazing. I mean, you have a huge American hedge fund. They put like more than $100 million in Le Figaro at one point, the French newspaper. So you can see that all these American companies are buying not only French media, they are buying all the European medias. And this is extremely interesting because they are controlling the information. And this is why people don't know that. I mean, it's extremely frightening. I mean, it's not frightening. I mean, it's normal for them to buy. They buy the tool which gives the information to people.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for the internet. Now we can spread this information.
The internet is still the only one place of freedom, and we can just ask ourselves, how long time it will be free. We will have our freedom on the web. You saw in this first 3 months that there is a bunch of new law in preparation, to try to control the whole thing, So I don't know how long time it's going to be free.
It's quite fascinating when I see her picture. This woman is she's quite. She and you're fascinated by her, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Actually, yes, I was. I mean, to write a book about a banker, you must be fascinated because I read another book. there is a book which has been written about the CEO of J.P. Morgan, Jamie Dimon, and it's a book called "The Last Man Standing." It's the most boring book I've ever read. I mean, it's pathetic. For on this one, all the readers, saying, she is fascinating, but she is, it's scary. And I think that if I've been not fascinated by her, the book wouldn't be interested. Don't forget that this book is a love story. It's not a love story with my love story with her. No? To correct it. No. She said it's her love story. She said in an American newspaper that she fall in love with credit derivatives. So this is showing that her mind is, is different. It's like having a teacher of mathematics, explaining to you that he's in love with a kind of algorithm, or some equation, and he's passing all his nights, trying to resolve, the equation. But basically, what this is. Why she said that she's in love with credit derivatives, because it's mind blowing. That's for sure. Except the fact that it's a pathetic product, and I'm extremely surprised considering how intelligent she is that she didn't saw it coming.
She didn't at all.
She saw it coming, but it was too late. I mean, it was not too late for her bank. She see it coming on 2005, 2006, even before people know about. Don't forget the first bank. The first bank in this crisis in United States started to go bankrupt in January 2007. And still in 2007, the Dow Jones was just crazy. It was going up and up and up and up. So all the bankers knew that something was wrong, but people were made to believe that everything is fine. And that's why the Dow Jones was so was touching the heights in 2007 and 2000, even in the beginning of 2008. I mean, it's amazing. 2007 was they break all the records for the Dow Jones Index. But she knew already that the whole thing is going to explode.
Yeah. What's your intention with writing this book?
My intention was to explain to every basically in the beginning to every French reader, to French people, how this crisis started, and why they did it. And how it was sold to different governments without telling the truth to the people. For instance, to give you an example, when Goldman Sachs, Lehman Brothers, and etc., they sold, the CDOs, this financial package to German pension funds, they never told them that. People who were in this in the products, they were what they call ninja, no income, no justified address or whatever. I mean, it's crazy. They're just a bunch of crooks, crooks in French.
Yeah. And they're probably gonna. It's just like there's gonna be a lot of tension within bankers, I bet.
But there's a lot of tension. There's already a lot of tension. If Greek politicians decide tomorrow, for instance, and this is perfectly possible, that they are not going to pay back all the loans, there is a lot of European banks and also American banks who are going to fail. And I don't think that people will accept another too big to fail stuff. This is like a cancer. It's spreading. Blythe Masters did what was the best at the moment, but it was just we say in French, reculer pour mieux sauter. I don't know how to say that in English. To go back to have a better jump afterwards. I mean, but there's no jump. Just a
crash.
Just a crash. Another one coming. It's simple. Everybody in Wall Street know that.
Give us some good news, Pierre, because I love spreading good information, and I really believe this is important that people like you investigate and it comes out, and it's part of being truly a real democracy compared to what it is right now.
No, there's no democracy. The bank have stolen the democracy in United States and also in Europe. They have, but for one reason, because they don't need to be elected. Bankers,
The new kings?
but yeah, of course, they're the new aristocrats. Where, as I said previously on some other channels, we're in a pre-revolutionary state. Only banks are today what the big aristocrats have been before the revolution. I won't be surprised if we'll see all the bankers, the head of all the bankers, to be thrown, on the public places.
Yeah.
Really? No. What do you think is going to happen in Greece, just for start? What do you think?
The change of the government and everything, I'm a bit...
6% of the Greek population decided to cast their vote for a real Nazi politic party. I mean, they didn't hide themselves. They openly say we're fascist. They did it because they are fed up to see their politician selling the soul of their country, the sovereignty and everything, just to pay back a bunch of crooks. Because don't ever forget that. Everybody knew that the Greek accounts were flawed. Goldman Sachs did that, from the beginning. But that was a European decision. They didn't care about the accounts of Greece. They wanted Greece to be in Europe because it's a kind of ideology. And this ideology is going to lead the whole Europe in the brink of revolution.
In how long? Could you predict?
Seriously, I remember that we spoke maybe 1 week ago, and what we have seen just last Sunday is proving, it's a revolution starting. To have a neo-Nazi, hello, a fascist, going to having 21 seats at the Greek parliament, this is amazing. If you have written that in a book, people won't believe you. But it's the truth.
But she sounds too like a fiction character.
Yeah, she's a kind of fiction character, but she's more. Elle est plus vraie que vraie.
More real than real?
She's more real than real. And I think that she don't realize exactly what she's doing. I think that people at Goldman Sachs, they don't realize that they're pushing the whole world into a major turmoil. Really.
Well, we're gonna watch this tsunami coming from really close. Thank you, Pierre.
Thank you very much, Lilou. Thank you.
Much love from France. Bye.